Hi, welcome to the Hidden Meanings. Hey, you want to hear a contented cat? Can you see Prissy down here? Listen to this. If she stops purring. She's purring away. I didn't even want to disturb her. How you doing? Welcome to the Hidden Meanings. Me and Prissy are just kind of relaxing, sitting around. Figured this would be a good time for you and me just to sit and talk, and about maybe things that are troubling you, and things that you thought, gee whiz, there's no hope, and you tried all the religious stuff. I know of a guy I read about who tried all the religious stuff. He did everything. He fasted, he did all the church, everything the church said, and he couldn't get any better results than you. And then one day he decided, he sat under a tree and he said, I can't take the evil in the world and the suffering that people have to go through. And he said, I'm just going to sit here and I'll either die or I'll find out what in the world this is all about. And he did. He found out. He became enlightened 3,000 years ago. His name was Shakyamuni. You know him better as Buddha. Of course, a lot of Christian people believe that he equated himself with God and all that. And Buddha didn't believe there was a God outside of yourself. He said the only kingdom, just as Jesus said, is within you. And he was just struggling throughout his whole life with the suffering that you go through and your children go through. And he searched to find an answer to human suffering. And he did. And of course Christianity warns you about him because he's filled with peace and love. And he says that actually the answer to all of your troubles can come from within you. We're coming to you from the Christian Village Church in Forked River. And we're open 7 days a week, and we have services Sunday morning at 11 a.m. and Sunday evening at 7:30 p.m. and then all week long at 8 p.m. We're open 7 nights. And I wish you'd come down and visit. If not, at least you can curl up with us here and me and Prissy. And God, boy, she is shedding. Your cat's shedding this time of year? My goodness. But I'll tell you a little bit more about the church and about our telephone number and so forth a little later on. But I had some things here that I thought I would share with you. A few weeks ago, we covered the start of the 10 worlds that Buddha taught about. There are 10 personalities in every person. And each of these personalities is a thing unto its own. There's the personality of hell, hunger, the animal, anger, tranquility, rapture, learning, realization, bodhisattva, which means doing good for others, and Buddhahood, which is the same as Christ consciousness. And Buddha taught that within every person, that means within you, there is an element that when it is brought out of its dormancy can arise and help you or give you the power to overcome any suffering that comes your way. But you know what? One of the 10 worlds I thought we'd cover tonight, it's called the world of hunger. It's not hunger for food. It's that part of our psyche which is desire. We've got many desires. We got food, we got a desire for warmth, we got a desire to sleep, and then we have the desires that are love, friends, justice. Those are the higher desires. The base desire, which brings instinct to the surface and is an automatic in all of us, is the desire to live. The book of Proverbs, in your Bible, it comments on the danger of desire. And it compares it to the reality of living and being. And it says in Proverbs 6:9, better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of desire. So, if you look around and you see all the beautiful cars, you get Cadillacs and Lincolns and all of this stuff, but just think of something. What good would all of those cars... In other words, you take a car that's maybe worth $20,000, $30,000 or $40,000, some of those very expensive cars, but if you put it aside by itself with nobody to drive it, what good is it? I mean, the dogs and cats don't want it, the birds don't want it, it just sits there until it rusts. Nobody wants it. See, it is only worth something when it is desired. See what I'm saying? It is only worth something when it is desired. And Buddha said that desire is the seat of the human problem, and he placed desire in the 10 worlds just one step up from hell. We have desires. We desire to make money, so we work. We we work for our family, we work for our community, and desires in some ways are essential to life, but just like the mind, if desires control us, then we become their slave, don't we? It's the very nature of desire to want, and that nature can never be satisfied for any length of time because it continues to come back. It says in Proverbs 6:34, jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom. I mean, nothing is enough. Neither will he be rest content, though you give him many gifts. In other words, it's a matter of consciousness, you know. I gotta do things my way, you know, this is no good because I'm not getting my own way, and, you know, I want this to happen, I want that to happen, and it goes on and on and on until finally we spin into oblivion, always running around the track trying to catch the rabbit like a greyhound and having as much chance of catching that rabbit as a greyhound. It's impossible. See? And you know, you'll see a lot of people that are really tagged with this desire that Buddha was talking about because they're always changing jobs, they change their lifestyles, they're changing cars all the time, they're changing partners all the time, and they live in a constant state of dissatisfaction. That's why a lot of the Christianity teaching about prosperity is so much nonsense, because there is no such thing. There's one line in the Bible that's really good that I like, and you know, it says, "You are rich when you are satisfied with what you got," because there's never enough. It never ends, you know. I mean, if you're a millionaire on Wall Street or whatever, you keep that into a time of absolute stress trying to maintain this kingdom that you've got until either it crashes or you crashed, one or the other, say. But this here state of constant dissatisfaction with everything, it leads to deep states of depression, anxiety, and stress, and that's what is hunger, according to Buddha. And incidentally, if you want to sit in on the Buddha and Christ teachings, come on down Friday night at 8 o'clock to the church, 134 Route 9 Forked River. We'll meet you down there. It's really interesting. Buddha taught that there's a constant driving from the mind, that happiness lies in the possession or experience, you know, of something that is really out of reach. In other words, I can't have it, so that must be what I want. You know what I'm saying to you? In other words, we're always trying to grab that brass ring, you know, and it's always just out of reach, so that makes it attractive to us. And then when you get that thing which you desire, the attraction palls, and you realize it's not enough. How many things? Here's a good test for you to tell you kind of what Buddha was talking about. If you were to think of all the things, you know, in the younger days when you used to go to the store, you go to Sears or Bamberger's, wherever you go to the store, and oh man, I gotta have this thing. Oh, this is terrific. I'll be satisfied if I got. Then the day comes and you get the credit card out or whatever, you go out and buy it, man. You got this, and then all of a sudden it's not such a big deal, and now you go up to the attic and you look at that thing that you bought 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and it's sitting over in the corner like just what it is, an old piece of junk. And at one time it was a driving obsession for you to have that. You know what I'm talking about? But you know, the worst part of this kind of desire or this kind of hunger is that it affects the mind. See, and it affects the mind to such an extent that we cannot make sound judgments, and so invariably we do what we shouldn't do, you see? That's the worst part of it. There's the phone ringing, so if you want to call in, I'll give you a quick number, 609-971-0537. That's our number, 609-971-0537. You'll get an answering machine and, you know, so forth. But anyhow, when we are obsessed with getting and protecting what we've got, you know, we've got a desire to do other. We don't make sound judgments because we're always making judgments based upon this anxiety to protect our little kingdom or to get more, you know. So greed is really the world of hunger. And it lies as the foundation probably of the most grave problem that we face, and probably the thing, if there's one thing that causes us, you know, the drugs and all of the heart attacks and blood pressures and all of this, it's this anxiety. Buddha focused on this world of desire that is located so close to the world of hell as a prime cause of suffering. You never knew this about Buddha, did you? I can tell the way you're looking at me. You never knew. All you thought of Buddha was a big fat statue with incense around. Do you know they hid it from you? Nothing could be farther from the truth. This man gave up everything he had so that he could study and meditate and find out why you suffer. He was obsessed with one thing in life, to eliminate your suffering. Did you know that? And he's gotten such a bad rap from Christianity, which says, oh, don't read anything of Buddha, don't bother, because they say he's a god. He never even pretended to be. You know what? Buddha died when he was 82 years old of food poisoning. That's a fact. I don't know how, sometimes I've heard about Russia, how people get brainwashed, but when I see people in this country, especially born-again Christians, oh, we can't read Buddha, I say, my God, they are actually brainwashed. They don't realize that this was one of the most loving, kind, gentle, beautiful men that ever lived on the face of the earth, who arrived at this point. He could be a psychology professor in any university in the United States today. And it all came from sitting under a tree and going into profound meditation, and God fed him the answers of the 10 personalities that lie within every person. But here then again, Buddha was talking about this world of desire, this world of hunger, this hunger to have things and to have our own way. And when you read the Bible, you find that Buddha was not alone in recognizing this inner world of hunger. In Proverbs 1:19 it says, so are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which takes away the life of the owners. Did you ever see that? So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which takes away the life of the owners. Look at them. Look at the hospitals. They're filled with people. Filled with people. And much of the sickness and illness that prevails develops out of what? The immune system breaking down because of the constant stress inside, and the stress to have and protect my little kingdom, and I got to get this and I got to get that and I got to be better and I got to get a better job. Look what we do to the kids. I've talked about this before, but it's true. We scare the pants off of them, tell them about a devil that doesn't exist and a hell that they're going to go to if they don't behave, and a God that's going to punish them. We put them in Little League this and Little League that, and then they get into a stress because they're going to drop the ball, they're going to embarrass the family, or the parents are going to scream bloody murder at them because they didn't make a good play. Then they got to live up to uphold the family tradition and get out of school and go to college and be just like Daddy, and so I can have a psychiatrist just like Daddy has, And then they wind up jumping off the roof of Princeton University or something, committing suicide. Why? Or maybe even worse, they end up on a life of pumping drugs into themselves. Why? Because their minds have had it with all the hypocrisy that we've set up and called religion, all the hypocrisy that we set up. Oh, so we made a beautiful world for you. You've made a mess for them. What have we made? Big cars, big houses, so what? Big lies, big fears, big anxieties, big stresses, big violence. And so it says in Proverbs 1:19 that everyone that is greedy of gain, which is practically our whole country and much of the world, which takes away the life of the owners. Desirelessness is the key. Take no thought, Jesus says. Just be, just exist, flow with the universe. In other words, you don't even think about yesterday. That's what we do. We dwell on, oh, what happened in the past. Oh, if I had only done this. And then we dwell on what's going to happen next week. What's going to happen tomorrow? You get into the world of heaven. You're sitting down watching TV and everything is nice and you're enjoying, you're sipping your little Coke and you have your popcorn and you're in heaven. And then as you're doing this, all of a sudden, you think of something that you have to do or somebody you're going to have a confrontation with tomorrow, and bang, just like that, you went from heaven to hell. Isn't it true? Come on. You know it happens to you. All of a sudden, that voice starts talking to you in your head and says, oh, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? You know what? I got to take a break. I want you to consider helping us out, the TV and the ministry and this hidden meanings thing that we're doing. And nobody else is doing this, folks. This is the only place that you can hear this. And I would love to be able to stay here, and I need you to be faithful and just share. I mean, we don't ask for a lot of money. We don't ask for any. I mean, whatever you can do. But if you'll call the telephone number at the end of the program, and if you'll ask me for the envelope, every month I'll send you an envelope with a hidden meaning teaching in it, and you send whatever you can afford, a couple bucks, whatever, anything, just to keep it going. Would you consider doing that? 609-971-0537. And then also, if you don't have to do that, but we'll send you information about the church, about the tapes and the Bible studies and all that business. But I need your help. and I need you to keep in touch with us. And I'd love to have you come down. And some of you that send me great letters, and I love to respond to them, and I promise everybody that sends a letter, I'll send a personal reply back and discuss some of the things that you talk about. You know what's good about this? Doggone it, you don't have to believe any of this stuff. Just listen. It's like rain, you know what I mean? It just, some of the ground will get wet. And that ground that gets wet, the seed that's planted in there will grow. I think John Lennon put it best. All we are saying is give peace a chance. Not peace in your mind. There is no such thing as peace of mind. It doesn't exist. I mean, you could be sitting in the Bahamas, you know, and they're playing Yellow Bird or whatever they do down here, you know, they're just going along in little sailboats and all this kind of business. Sitting on the beach, not a care in the world, and all of a sudden your mind will start, well, how do you know so-and-so accomplished at home what you needed to get done? Wonder if they forgot to do it. Did they take the dog to the vet like they were supposed to? If not, what are you going to do if the dog gets sick? And all of this stuff goes through your mind, because your mind is a place of hell. That is hell. The only hell that, you know what Buddha said hell is? Hell is a state in which you concentrate on your own perceived agony. That's hell. Proverbs 15:27. He that is greedy of gain troubles his own house, but he that hates gifts shall live. And it doesn't mean that you don't like to get a Christmas present. It doesn't mean that you don't like to get a birthday present. It means that you are not obsessed with your own survival. Greed is the reason that mankind has brought the natural environment to the brink of destruction. What you talk about greed? Look at greed to make a buck. They take the eyes of little rabbits and pry them open and then pour this junk in there to see if their eyes burn out so they can sell some kind of mascara. That's not greed. They're hard. You know, they say we belong to Greenpeace and the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. They say in about 5 years there probably won't be any elephants left. That's not greed because of all the ivory. Look at what we've done with the oceans and the rivers and the forests. It's all because of greed. And what have we done to each other because of greed? That's why there's a drug plague in this country, because the greed is so bizarre that people are in an absolute constant state of mental frenzy trying to survive. See, we're finally seeing in the environment the inevitable consequences of greed and what it has done to the Earth's natural resources, because it's all done by greed. But you know what? As we believe, as it is outside, so it is inside. Your body is a miniature universe. As it is outside, so it is inside. The center of your desire is located in the solar plexus. It's the place of the sun. And it is surrounded by the 12 sympathetic nerve systems of your body in the same way that the sun is surrounded by the 12 signs of the zodiac, in the same way that the Son of God, Jesus Christ, was surrounded by the 12 disciples. And there is the key to raise that sun, to raise that place of desire from the lower to the higher, so that it raises, as it does at Easter time, high in the constellation Aries, the Lamb of God, sitting over the earth and giving light to the entire earth and bringing the summer back to your life, sitting at the right hand of the Father. And that's the world of hunger that Buddha taught about, which was so terrible and such a threat, and is such a threat, and does so much harm to your life. Buddha showed us how it affects us and how it affects society, and everybody has this. And with some it's stronger than others. But what about the duality? You know, what about the positive force of hunger? See, in everything in the Bible there's a duality. There's a negative and there's a positive. In other words, there's the lion that is the spirit, and there's the lion that roars trying to see whom he will destroy. Well, how about the hunger to see oppressed people made free? How about the hunger to see animals respected and treated with dignity and not hurt anymore? How about the hunger to see people who are in such low income and having such a struggle to make it? How about the hunger to see these people finally have the dignity and able to enjoy some of the comforts that you and I take for granted? How about the hunger to see the criminal mind truly rehabilitated? What a mess we've made with that. You know, a lot of times people get so mad, oh, you know, throw these guys, electrocute, do all these things to these people, and, you know, when you sometimes look at a criminal, what I want you to do is just think to yourself, if you had the same brain in your head or the same mind in your consciousness that that person has, could you do any different than that person has done? Think about that. You have no responsibility for the mind that you have. You have no responsibility for those crazy things that are talking to you in your mind. You didn't put your mind in your head. If God gets mad at you for the things you did, he's going to have to get mad at himself, because you had no choice of the mind you had. It's not your fault. That's why the Apostle Paul says that it's not me, it's the sin within me. And we've never been able to understand that, and that's why